It is our second week of our road trip series. I've been on the road for a whole week and I have been loving seeing all of what God has created. Last week we learned that we can obey God by putting God first. And remember, the Israelites were kind of on a road trip of their own and they got some road rules. The first one was they should only worship God. And the second one was no idols. This week, our main point is we can obey God by worshiping Him. Oh my gosh, I think I just hit a squirrel. Okay, pause here and read Exodus 20, verse 7 to see what that third commandment is. The third commandment was I shouldn't use God's name in vain. And I just said the big OMG. So what does that mean? Well, vain means worthless or has no meaning. So when we say God's name in a way that doesn't bring reverence or importance to what He is, that's when we are violating that third commandment. So when I say, Jesus, clean up your room, that has nothing to do with God's character or Jesus's character, right? Or when I say OMG, it just is empty words. That is what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that when we're saying God's name, we're bringing glory to Him and worshiping Him through it. Okay, pause here and let's see what that fourth commandment is. Read Exodus 20, 8 through 11. Okay, so I can't use God's name in vain and now I need to rest. I love rest. I love to nap, right? Who loves a nap? But that's not quite what He means. He means in this rest that we are taking time to focus on Him. Do you remember our friend Paul from last week? Well, he wrote something else to the Philippians. Pause here and read Philippians 4, 8 through 9 to see what he has to say about what this has to do with worshiping God. Man, so when I rest, that's going to help me keep my mind on things that are true, lovely, pure. So what does that worship look like for you? Maybe it's praying, maybe it's worshiping, singing, journaling. It's going to look different for each of us. But what is that going to look like for you this week? Okay, I think I need to take a rest. And by that, I mean I need to go to the rest room. So check out this cartoon and I can't wait to see how you choose to worship God this week. Bye!
Last week, we learned two commandments that God told Moses to tell the people of Israel. Do you remember what they were?
Commandments are like rules, right?
Right, rules to help us live right.
One commandment was to put God first.
Right, and the second was to
Have only one God.
Now, the third commandment that God gave to the people was to not use God's name in the wrong way.
That makes sense.
God should have the most important place in our hearts, and we should worship only God. That means we need to be careful about how we say God's name.
Like using God's name like a bad word.
The fourth commandment was to keep the Sabbath day holy.
What's a Sabbath?
A Sabbath is a day where we worship God and we rest. Rest to spend time with our families and to enjoy the things God created.
Like going to church on Sundays?
Yes, that's one way to honor God's day. God wanted the people of Israel to slow down and think about God. The people had a lot to be thankful for, and we do too.